Oh,
Are you?
I'm ready. They've been ready.
Rough and ready Teddy's here.
Let's do it.
I'm ready.
Get out the good one, see.
Turn off my phone.
Oh, that's pretty.
Mm-hmm.
You caught me eyeballing that one.
Okay, we'll reconvene for our after lunch session and welcome back. The next item will be hearing number 4, which is 216-103, a zoning amendment for Ron and Nidra Osteen.
Good afternoon, Darcy Gillard with the Planning Department. Before you today is a zoning amendment for Ron and Nedra Osteen. They're proposing to change 40.3 acres from recreation to general agriculture. A little bit of background is in 1965, an ordinance was adopted to rezone approximately 257 acres from unclassified to recreation. At that time, there wasn't a reason stated as to why that applicant was requesting a rezone, nor was that a requirement on the application. So they came in to submit for this rezone and they weren't required to give any reasoning, which is different than what we require today. Later on, there was a portion of that 257 acres that was subdivided into 1 acre parcels, and you can see that on the location map before you. Single-family residential homes are permitted in a recreation zone, so in order to construct a home in there, they did not require any rezone to subdivide that land. The property is located at 4022 Sheep Ranch Road in Murphys. Before you on the screen is an aerial, and as you can see, the site is developed. There's an existing single-family residence, an accessory dwelling that does have an accessory dwelling permit, an existing shop, and a well and a septic system, and it does have access to the site, which you can see on the aerial. The rezone of this property does not intend any future development. At this time, the site is pretty much developed. If it were to be changed to A1, they could do some general agriculture type uses. There are a ton of general ag type uses that are permitted in the A1 zone. So as I mentioned, the request is a zoning amendment from recreation to A1. The reasoning that was stated was to accommodate future cannabis cultivation on the site. The Osteens were not able to submit any sort of a cannabis registration because of the zoning. The urgency ordinance does require you to have that zoning in place prior to May 10th, so it excluded them from submitting any kind of a registration application. A1 is a resource zone, so the general plan designation, which is future single-family residential. The general plan states that resource zones are compatible in all land use designations. Therefore, the general plan amendment is not a requirement of this rezone. The proposed general plan land use map, draft 4, which the board looked at last week, does indicate that this area is going to resource production. So A1 is a more appropriate zoning designation. It's more in line with the development that has occurred out there and the lot sizes that exist. In terms of CEQA, we exempted this from CEQA as it doesn't apply under 15061B3, stating that the action does not have potential to cause any significant effects on the environment. The site is developed. They do not intend to have any future development at this time. If they were to come through for something that required a use permit or any other discretionary action, that would be required to go through CEQA. Staff is recommending that the Planning Commission pass a motion recommending that the Board of Supervisors approve the zoning amendment from recreation to A1. I can answer any questions you may have, and the applicants are here as well.
You want to have them come in?
Pardon?
You want to have them come up and talk?
Yeah. Is the applicant here or the applicant's agent?
Yep.
Give your name for the...
Nedra Osteen. My husband Ronald. What else?
Do you have anything you want to add to what the county just
No.
presented to us?
Not at all. I'm happy with what she just said. It's all factual. I would like to get it rezoned.
Okay, and you're aware that currently the ordinance has for cultivation, that it has a stop on it right now?
Yes, I'm aware of
Okay,
that.
Okay.
Mhm.
And you're currently, it looks like you did have a grow already on that property?
There was.
Yeah, okay. Okay,
Okay.
perfect, thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience that wants to address this application? Nobody? Okay, I'll close the public hearing then and bring it back to the commission for deliberation. Deliberate.
I don't see a problem with this.
I concur, I don't see any problem with it.
That's good.
Okay. And everybody, sounds like everybody's ready for the recommendation?
Yes.
Staff recommends the Planning Commission pass a motion to sign Resolution 2016-030, recommending the Board of Supervisors approve the zoning amendment from Recreation to A1 for Assessor's Parcel Number 34002047, based upon the findings included therein.
I'd like to make a motion
Is there a second?
to uphold the planning department's recommendation.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There being none? So be it. That was easy. The next item is hearing 216-1080, appeal of the planning director's denial of a cannabis cultivation registration application 2016-01089.
Before we start, I'd like to introduce one of our newer planners. She's actually been with us for almost a year. Madeline Plandreau. This is her first opportunity to present to the commission. I just wanted to introduce her to you. She's been a great help for the last 10 months or so that she's been here.
Hi, Madeline.
Hi.
Hello.
Aye.
Okay, so staff is presenting 2016-1080 appeal for Cheng Hage Lee. This is an appeal of denial for the cannabis registration 2016-089. The reasons for the denial, the appeal for planning director's denial of commercial cannabis 2016-089. The file was originally flagged in the county aerial imagery from June 3rd, 2016, and showed that the site was prepared in excess of 22,000 square feet. There was also an invalid lease agreement that was included with the registration paperwork, and we also received a sheriff's disqualification. So this is the site, 5249 West Murray Creek Road in Mountain Ranch. This is county aerial imagery dated, this was acquired on June 3rd, 2016. Just wanted to show the site was prepared. The property boundary, these parcel lines are significantly off. The line at the base should be in line with West Murray Creek Road. So just
Why don't
Good
you use the
mind.
pointing to maybe outline where
Do we have
the
pointing?
property
You can
Please.
see the
is.
swirls
So
on
let's
the
see if I can do this. So
Yeah.
this line here should be in line with West Murray Creek Road. So our initial review of this site showed that it was prepared for an excess of 22,000 square feet, approximately 28,000 square feet. That caught our eye, and so we began reviewing the file. I just wanted to mention that this is the current image that was just taken at the end of August, beginning of September, that shows that indeed they're only cultivating approximately 20,000 square feet. So there's no need for mitigation. Second reason, when we started reviewing the file, there was an invalid lease agreement that was included with the registration paperwork. County Code 1795165A2R requires that a copy of a fully executed lease or recorded deed demonstrating that the registrant had lawful possession of the parcel to be registered as a cultivation site prior to May 10th. In this case, the executed lease agreement that was submitted was signed on April 3rd for the start date of April 15th, 2016, signed by Mr. Lee and the current landowner, Mr. Michael Fouch. However, the deed for the parcel was not recorded until April 25th of 2016, so to staff, this lease was void. And in addition, on September 22nd, 2016, the Sheriff's Office disqualified the registrant based on the failure to disclose prior arrests and convictions. I just wanted to remind you that CEQA does not apply to projects which the public agency rejects or disapproves. And our recommendation is to pass a motion to sign Resolution 2016-037 denying 2016-1080, the appeal of planning director's denial of commercial cannabis registration 2016-089.
Subsequently, we've had some further discussion internally with council on the validity of the lease. And maybe I'll have, if I may, ask Julie to sort of explain the position that lease, or the strict interpretation of the code may or may not make that lease invalid.
So, certainly, if in fact at the time a lease is executed, the person who purported to be the landowner didn't own the land, there's an argument that that is a per se invalid lease. This being said, the urgency ordinance requires that the landowner and/or the tenant establish ownership or lawful possession by May 10th. And I don't think there's any dispute in this case that that was in fact resolved by May 10th. So unlike some prior cases where I think the advice of the Planning Commission was, look, there was no lawful ownership established as of that cutoff date, here we do have a different situation where lawful ownership and possession appears to have been established by the cutoff date. So I guess I would caution the Planning Commission at this point to rely solely on the lease as an invalidating piece of evidence. If the Planning Commission wants to deny this application, I would recommend finding a different basis.
Do we know when the grant deed to Fouch was signed and delivered to him?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Do we know when the deed to Fouch was signed and delivered to him?
No, we have the date that the deed was recorded with the clerk as the 25th of April, 2016.
Do we know when the lease was signed?
The lease was signed on April 3rd, 2016.
By April 25th, Fouch clearly had ownership because he recorded the deed.
Yes.
Let's assume that the lease was signed and delivered prior to that. Do we have any information that Fouch has taken the position the lease is invalid?
No.
Okay, so we have a person who owns the property far in advance of May 10th who signed a lease to somebody at some point who doesn't object to the lease on the grounds that it may have predated his ownership, correct?
Correct.
Do we have any information as to why the arrests and convictions were not disclosed on the application?
No.
So I think it boils down to that point that, he's reduced the grow to the area that's permitted under the ordinance. If you're comfortable that the lease agreement meets the criteria of the ordinance, then it gets down to a situation that we had similarly with previous applicant where the sheriff's office advised that the registration should be rejected because of the failure to disclose prior arrest. They weren't actually disqualified because of a conviction of a felony, but it was the failure to disclose on the application. And as you recall, on a similar situation, the planning commission found that was sufficient evidence to reject the application. That issue is, or has been appealed, has not yet been heard by the board, so I don't know what the final outcome of that will be.
Okay. Are you the applicant?
Yes, Mr. Lee is the applicant, and I'm the brother-in-law, and we are the leasee of the property.
What comments do you have from what you've heard?
Yes, we do have comments based on the denial reason. On the first denial that the lease, we have issue with the lease, the date of the lease. I strongly believe that Mr. Fauch, the owner of the land, hired a lady named Kathy to do all the paperwork. My brother-in-law doesn't read and write in English, so she has many typo on the lease application, on the lease form. She stated that the lease is starting on April 25th, and the date signed is April 3rd, 2019. It's not 2016, which is, I believe that when she filled out the form, she must be frustrated or drunk or somehow. But I strongly believe that my brother-in-law and I were not in this county prior to April 8th. And that may not happen to sign on April 3rd, 2019. And I believe that this is a mistake, a typo mistake, based on the lease information.
I do believe we just confirmed that the lease we're of the opinion that the lease is good because Mike Fauch had acquired the land prior to April, or by April 25th. So at this point, I don't think we'll be ruling necessarily on that so much as something else, right? Am I correct? Huh? The rest. The thing in question right now, because it looks like you brought down the total square footage below 22,000 square feet, and it looks like you have a lease that can be validated. The question is the prior arrests that were not disclosed within your application for registration.
Yes, that happened more than 30 years ago when he was young and he with his one of his friends. They was harassed by a couple white guys, chased on the freeway, throw baseball bat, stick, and force them to have like conflict. So they kind of afraid, and that's why they pull the weapon to scare off the bad guy. And the bad guy called the cop and they got arrested. That is the incident that happened like 30 years ago. But now he is a good guy, a good citizen for the American people. And I believe that he is a new person. He's a good guy. That is something that happened incidentally, that nobody intention to have that happen, but it happened. But it's like 1982. So it's like over 30 years ago, and he is a new guy. He is a good guy. I'm his brother-in-law, and I believe that he is a good man, a good citizen. And I believe that we as a grower, we contribute some like fund, money to the county. And I believe that the value of the property in this county is like double, triple since I've been here. So I don't agree with the gentleman that the value of the property will go decrease or go down to zero. I believe that, since the grower move into the county or the county giving out permit to growers generate lots of revenue for the county, and I think that's very good and benefit the county. So, and I believe that my brother-in-law is a good man, so it's up to all the board of supervisors to make decision whether approve or not for us, and we'll be appreciate and happy. Okay.
You're not the registered grower, your brother-in-law is?
Yes, my brother-in-law, but I'm sublease with him, so under the 22,000 square feet.
On this lease
Yes,
or on the registration for the growing?
on the lease. Not on the lease, not on the paperwork, but I'm partner with him. Yes.
You're partners with him in the marijuana business?
Pardon me?
Are you partners with him in the business of growing marijuana?
Yes.
Did you apply for a registration?
No, I'm just working with him.
We work together.
There were some arrests and one conviction in 1994 as well. Do you have any information you want to share with us about that?
이제 보여줘요. 플라운이가 또 존대 이러게 sonda 여자. He was driving from his farm with children with him, and he was exhausted and tired and drank some beer before he came back home. So he was arrested because of drinking and a kid with him in the car during that time.
It looks like a DUI. Is that what happened?
Có 4 môn DWI nữa.
Đi online cũng chỉ bảo thì cà phê làm gì họ chữa đồ vấn này họ rồi thì lò thì cháo hay lò.
Chỉ có những môn DWI.
Thực hiện chỉ muốn rồi
He doesn't have any DWI. He doesn't know anything about that.
In Turlock, it was in Turlock. That would be something to investigate, because here it says of the BC 23-152 DUI alcohol/drugs misdemeanor conviction. So they're saying there's a conviction under that. It says the arrest on 23-152 of the BC DUI/0.08% misdemeanor dismissed. So the alcohol DUI was dismissed. Does that ring any bells? Does that bring up anything for you?
Người đi thằng đã dùng lý lấy cái mua DWI thế có hỗ trợ tiền rồi thế nào không?
chợ của hôm bia
Họ dùng biển thì chỉ có những chiếc bó để có tàu mua DWI.
chỉ bảo cái vấn đề của tụi mình nhiều tất cả có tụi mình nhiều tất cả.
Vấn đề này có những chiếc tàu lái.
chỉ mua đây đi.
He doesn't know anything about DUI. He remembered that he got arrested because of alcohol involved with the driving and the kids in the back. So.
That brings up a question. Is that within our purview, or is that something where the sheriff's office has to withdraw their objection?
So with, under the urgency ordinance, what was it? 1795165 M15, the registration, so everybody has to submit a background check to the sheriff. They have a form that they are required to fill out. The form requests information about arrests or convictions. It's clearly stated in the form, arrests or convictions. They also are informed or signing under penalty of perjury. And so the registration may be denied or invalidated if the sheriff finds that the applicant for the cultivation site has been convicted of any felony or misdemeanor he deems to be reasonably related to qualifications, etc., or the planning director finds the applicant has a history of local sanctions, fines, etc. In this case, however, the issue wasn't so much the nature of the convictions or arrests as it was the fact that he did not disclose them when asked to. And there's a separate provision that indicates that a registration can be invalidated by misleading or false information if it's discovered on the application form. And since the background check is considered part of the application form, the Planning Commission, in a past circumstance similar to this, had decided that the sheriff's evidence that there was misleading information was adequately interpreted by the planning department as requiring denial of the application. So in this case, the question before you is, did the planning department correctly deny the application based on the evidence presented by the sheriff that he was untruthful or misleading in the background check application form?
Well, it seems clear that the planning director did exactly that. That's why we're here.
So the question before you is whether you agree that he exercised his discretion appropriately by making that determination based on the evidence recommendation of the sheriff.
I don't see how we could decide anything else.
Right.
It's up to you.
Do they have more of an opportunity to speak at this point?
Well, yeah, I was also hear from the public, so.
Right.
Do you have anything else you'd like to say before we go to the public and see what they feel?
Yes, he said he thought he heard somebody told him that any record after 10 years it's no longer valid or no longer affect his record. That's why he didn't tell. That's why he didn't put that on the application. But he admitted that he had that like 30 years ago. But somebody told him that after 10 years, those are like
Expunged?
yeah. So that's what he understands. That's why he didn't, he believed that it should be okay.
If I understand it correctly, I think it's a matter of disclosing it. That's the big thing.
Yeah,
Whether or not he disclosed it was probably more important than whether he was convicted or not.
Yeah, you're right. I think maybe he just believed somebody that, it's 30 years, so you don't have to, tell or say anything. It should be affecting. So that's what he believed. But, it's up to all of you guys to make decision on that. So.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to say before I go to the public, see what they think?
Cô tháo vào trâu được họ thì lấy họ bỏ anh này được họ chỉ bao thì anh này như họ vừa cho họ cho bỏ nó nè thế cô vào trâu được là cái là ba của thế là họ cũng sao với nhau ítนึงคือมั่วหลงแต่ซึ่งชิมมั่วจริงแต่กูรู้นึง
He said he feels sorry that he didn't disclose about that, record, and he thought that it's over 30 years, so it shouldn't be a fact, but he really appreciate for your times and whatever you decide, or he'll be happy with it, and he will learn from there. That next time he should disclose the information. So.
Okay. Thank you. Now, is there anyone in the public that would like to speak regarding this issue? Yes, sir.
My name is Mike Stone, and I would like to ask to incorporate everything I said earlier regarding items 1, 2, and 3, and ask to submit those on item 5 in opposition to the permit in support of the denial. The only comment I'll make in addition is property values. I can't quantify it, but I don't think it's reasonable to believe that a growing next to a piece of property has no impact at all on the market value of that property. And my personal opinion is no reasonable person would buy it, they turn it down and go look for another piece of property that didn't have a grow. So that in effect, in market value, the property's worth zero if anybody finds out there's a grow going on next door. Just my opinion. Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to address this? We'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission for deliberation and a decision.
Well, it seems clear that the application did contain false or misleading information by reason of the failure to disclose arrests and a conviction. There's nothing in the ordinance that requires that it be bad faith failure to disclose or a willful failure to disclose. It doesn't say that. It just says the planning director may invalidate it. I take that to include deny because it would be silly to require him to grant it and immediately invalidate it. And so I'm in favor of the recommendation.
I'm gonna, I can go with point number 2 on the resolution denying, but on point 1, I believe the issue of the lease was resolved, so that should be
Struck.
deleted from the resolution. Correct?
Agreed.
Agree.
Okay.
Which number was the 22,000 square feet? That would also need to be deleted because at this point,
I don't believe that's in the resolution.
Yeah, there's nothing in the resolution.
Okay. Just want to double check that.
Is everybody ready for the recommendation?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Staff recommends the Planning Commission pass a motion to sign Resolution 2016-037, denying 2016-1080, appeal of Planning Director's denial of commercial cannabis registration 2016-089.
With the amendment.
With the amendment, okay.
I'd like to make a motion to hold the planning department's recommendation.
I'll second that with the amendment.
Yes.
Okay. Been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 4-0. And you understand you have the right to appeal that to the Board of Supervisors. If you want the Board of Supervisors to hear it further, you certainly can do that.
Within 15 calendar days.
So 15 days then.
15 days.
Thank you.
Okay. The next one is,
Oh, this one has the,
pardon?
is this the one that wanted a continuance? No.
This next one now is number 2016-1086.
Okay, staff is presenting 2016-1086, appeal from Che, appeal of denial of cannabis registration 2016-730. This is the appeal of planning director's denial of commercial cannabis registration. The reasons for denial are false or misleading information and inconsistent or inaccurate statements on the application. The photographs that were submitted with the application were date stamped May 5th, 2016, which show active cultivation on the site. And the county aerial imagery acquired on June 3rd, 2016 does not show any cultivation activity on the site. So this is the location of the site outside of Wallace on Southworth, it's 10067 Southworth Road. This is the photo that was submitted with the registration paperwork. It is date stamped May 6th, 2016, which shows a cannabis plant in a pot on a graded surface with an irrigation system and water tank. This is our county aerial imagery acquired June 3rd, 2016, which does not show any cultivation whatsoever. I included the red box on the western part of the parcel. This was the area that was indicated on the registrant's plot plan of where the cultivation site was located on the parcel. So staff concluded that either the image provided with the registration paperwork was of a different parcel or the image was not taken on May 6, 2016. The appeal letter that was submitted by Mr. Che stated that the cannabis plants were started under lights inside the residence on the parcel and that they were planted outside on April 15, 2016. Here's the photo that was submitted with the appeal letter. It is date stamped May 8, 2016, showing cannabis plants under light. And an additional photograph that was submitted with the appeal letter dated April 15, 2016, showing plants in the ground. We don't see any irrigation systems or pots, although that just might not be included in this photo. And I wanted to include the most recent county aerial imagery from the end of August, showing that indeed there is active cultivation on the site. Again, CEQA does not apply to projects where the public agency rejects or disapproves. And the recommendation is to pass a motion to sign Resolution 2016-038, denying 2016-1086, the appeal of planning director's denial of commercial cannabis registration 2016-730.
And you're the appellant?
Yes.
So what was the first part of that said that there's a misunderstanding? What was the misunderstanding?
Can you state your name, please?
Pardon me? My name's Nancy Roberts. I've been a resident and property owner in Calaveras and teacher for 42 years, single mom. So, and I lease the land to these people. I'm the owner. So the false or misleading information.
Both of these.
That was, go ahead.
The fact that the photo that was included, dated May 5th, shows active cultivation. Our county aerial imagery is dated from June 3rd and shows absolutely nothing on the cultivation site. So that is both false or misleading and inconsistent or inaccurate statements.
Okay, all I'm going to do is just cut through and tell you the story. So I've got pictures of the property was a tax sale 2 years ago. My niece and I bought it. The taxes like quadrupled, went way up after we bought it, and it said on the papers that the structures were approved, but they weren't. So we started major cleanup, but I'll just start from, say, last February. I've got receipts for tractors, pump, well work, electrical, after meeting these gentlemen. Weed eater, weed cutting, all having to do with preparation. Then small plants were put in the house. And then on May, the lease started with them. They've worked really hard. We've all worked super hard, and I've never seen men work like this and by the book. They pay their rent right on time. They pay PG&E on time. They have insurance. There's a home with a bathroom. It's clean. So that's my story. It's pretty simple.
When did you say they planted outside?
Pardon me?
I'm sorry, the date you said they planted outside?
You know, I don't know. I know the overseeing I did, it was, there were plants in the home, and then when things went through, then they put them outside. I know, I was in charge helping them with preparing the property, and we worked really hard on that.
We have a photo dated April 15th that appears to me to show a series of holes in the ground with little bitty plants in them. Is that photo of this site?
Yeah.
That one right there?
Yes.
Okay, so the plants were in the ground by April 15th?
Yes, but yeah, we took it out, we put it in, but then I have to wait for the approval, for the permit to put it on, so.
I'm sorry, can you speak into the mic, please? Thank you.
First we put in the house, and then I think somewhere on April 15 or 16 we brought it out to put it out in the house, yeah.
Okay, can you explain why it is that the aerial photo taken June 3rd doesn't seem to show these plants?
The holes were really small, so I remember them. I don't, can you get a close-up of that? Can you, should be able to zoom that in.
First we dig it small, but then we keep expanding. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I don't think that, can you zero that in so we can see the holes?
I have zeroed it in.
Let's see how we can.
Didn't mean to do that.
Well, it doesn't show the holes in the ground either. That should show up.
So, to follow up on what Kelly's question, if you don't mind, Kelly.
Go ahead.
You got a 415 picture of the marijuana plants in the ground here, right? That would be April 15th. And then you have a May 8th of marijuana plants, which is what, 3 weeks afterwards inside. So did you dig them back up and put them back inside?
No, when I went over there to observe them, and my niece and I did, who lives in Santa Cruz, I live half the time here and half the time in Arcata, California. I saw the plants inside the house. There's a house and a barn, and the barn has a pretty high ceiling, so.
Okay, so you can understand my confusion here with, you're saying these holes were there April 15th.
Well, we're talking dozens of plants, so
Dozens?
I wasn't there. So probably they had some in the ground and some going in house at different stages. I'm a gardener too. That's my guess. What's the deal?
Yeah, we do put some in the ground, I think either April 14 or 15. I think it's like somewhere of 60 or 80 plants on the hole, in the holes. But
The main thing I want you people to know is that preparation was done before the time. We have receipts, once again, for pump, the well, tractor, weed eater, paying for weed eater, rental of a tractor, lots of, the grass was like this high, and those Italian thistles were all over the place, so all that had to be done. Oh, burning too. It had been a tax sale, so it was a mess. 2 dumpsters the size of railroad cars were filled with debris. So I have records of all of that.
So you have receipts dated?
Receipts.
Was there any grading done on this property for the grow?
Mostly before, well, here's a picture of me on a tractor. It was mostly the grass and the star thistle, the trees, the eucalyptus trees that were broken, the Canadian thistle, beer bottles, that kind of thing. Junk cleaned up, but the ground, it was mostly getting rid of those weeds, the thistles, the broken trees. We had some trees cut, and some burning.
Well, my question was specific, though, about grading or moving earth in preparation for a grow.
There was some of that, too, yeah.
Is there any evidence in our file here of that?
Yeah, I think I've got, pretty sure there's a picture. Let's see. We didn't really prepare to have, I know I've got it on my phone if we can't find it, but.
Well, the reason I asked, the site looks pretty flat to
I
me.
sent a photograph to the county, but, oh, here it is. It's pretty bad. I sent a much better one that's missed. But here's a tractor, and this is the tree on the property of cultivating. That has a disc on it. There's actually a couple of discs out there on the property right now.
Is that dated? Can you give that to Annette, please? Oh, I didn't see you brought it up, sorry.
You can see he's got a mask
I have
on.
that picture, I have that.
If we'd known that this would take place, of course, we would have done other documentation, but we're lucky to have those.
Well, I understand you had to clear up a lot of Italian thistle and basically junk plants, and you had to use a tractor to do it. I get that. My question is whether you were moving dirt in order to prepare the site before May 10th.
Pretty hard to have a tractor with a disc moving without moving dirt. So yes, dirt was moved.
Okay, I don't see it here, but
Here's the 3 gentlemen, one's right here, with hose. I know it's not a whole lot of pictures, but it only takes one.
okay,
And plus, I've got lots of documentation and receipts. There's also a receipt, we use that John Deere tractor, but there's also a receipt that, could you get hold of? Where they rented a tractor and a truck to bring it out there before the date.
Rented a tractor and a truck to bring what out?
Rented a trailer and to bring the tractor out
Okay,
before May
so
1st.
you talk about this home being a foreclosure home? And that you bought it 2 years previously?
No, it was a tax sale.
Okay, tax sale, excuse me. And that you bought it 2 years previous, and you talk about what a disaster it was, and everything that you're referencing here today is referencing cleanup of the mess that you bought. What we're looking for specifically is not cleanup of a yard that was a mess. We're looking
Right.
for cleanup preparation, site preparation for growing.
That's why I brought pictures like this instead of pictures of the dumpster, of the
But that's,
electrical.
the tractor pictures for me are weed eating type stuff. It's cleaning up the property. I'm not seeing any picture that's dated before May 10th that, when I look at June 3rd, I see the pictures, but when I look at June 3rd, I don't see the pictures matching the landscape on June 3rd.
I've been a resident here and a single mom, teacher and all that, like I say, and it feels like an argument here. I don't really want to argue. We have pictures, can bring in much more documentation. It's kind of,
So I don't want you to feel like this is an argument, because
Well, it
that's...
is. It's an
It's not an
argument.
argument. What we're here doing is, we're looking at your case specifically. We're giving you an opportunity through this appeal to say to us, here's my evidence. It's not an argument. We're looking to you for information. That's why you filed for the appeal, is to provide us the information to decide whether or not this decision was correct.
the decision was not correct. We worked that land. Right here, you see a tractor, there's another one dragging an implement. I don't see, if you could zero in with this and see any kind of,
So on my iPad, I have zeroed in, and I don't see any of the...
you don't see any kind of preparation
No,
of the
I do
land.
not.
Can I see your picture?
You sure can. So when you're looking at this, here's the house, here's where they say in the cultivation site area is, and when I blow that up, there's nothing there. It looks just like a weed-eated yard, right? You don't see holes dug like the pictures you submitted. This was on June 3rd. Well,
Have you ever seen
okay.
a big, I'm not a big marijuana fan, I'm not a landlord.
Okay, it doesn't matter too, it doesn't matter.
Plants are this big.
Look at those holes and look at the size of his feet, and you tell me that that hole is as big as your fist. Because I'm having a real problem with that. That's either a Barbie doll sitting there, or, I mean, that's not a 2-inch hole.
Well,
Those are big holes. I should see that in the picture that I just showed you, that was aerial imagery of June 3rd, right?
you should see it.
Yeah, I should. And that's what we should be looking at up there on the screen as well. And it's not an argument, and I'm not trying to start, what I'm trying to do is say to you, this was your appeal process, they paid the $500 to be here before us to prove your case. And so we are looking to you for evidence, and we're not getting what we need, so we just keep asking more questions, and we're looking for the answers, and we're not getting that.
We plowed the land.
Okay, I need you to go back behind the mic, please, so that people can hear you on the camera. Thank you.
Okay, what about those holes?
They're not 2
We dig
inches.
the hole. So, yeah.
That aerial, I just don't see that as an argument with the aerial photo that you have. If you had a clear one that was close up, we could have a discussion. But that one is,
So if you look at what the county projected up there, and they blew theirs up, we don't see those holes in the land.
okay.
This was done on 4/15, on 6/3 was the aerial, we're just not seeing it.
I've got a question.
It's okay.
When these plants, I think you said 60 or 80 plants were put in the ground by April 15th, how tall should those plants be by June 3rd?
no, all of the plants, obviously the plants were not put in by April 15th. They were put in the house. They were growing in the house.
I'm sure I heard it said that those plants were in the ground by April 15th.
You want to
That's what
talk
this
again?
photo
Some of
shows.
them are out there and
Yes,
some are in the house.
some we put in the like April 15 or 16. It's just like there's a place that I clean up, so we kind of like hurry up. So some we put 15, some's like June. It's like
the spot that we clean up, we dig the hole and put it in. So we just keep continue like week by week, day by day, whatever I got the holes, I put it in. It's just like, it's not all like in one day.
Okay, so some were put in by April 15th? and
Some's
then-
in the house, some's in the hole. It's like I go like day by day because, you know.
But I can
there's a-
see some in the ground in this April 15th picture.
Yeah. I
Okay,
do
how
put
tall
some-
should those plants be by June 3rd?
I think it's about this tall, like April 15. Some like this tall, some like, you know, the.
Okay, so a month and a half later, June 3rd, how tall would they be then?
By June 3rd, I think about 1.5 or somewhere around there, yeah. So, but I don't got a picture for that one. It's just the baby one that we put the lights on.
The second aerial photo you have showing plants,
Yes.
many plants. What's that blue line around that? The
Parcel
prop-
boundary? The property boundary?
The property boundary,
Yes.
approximately.
Yes.
But on scale, if it was off 5 feet on one side, it would be off 5 feet on the other, correct? So they would both move equidistant. How far does that grow look like it's going on the property boundary there? Is that the entire grow going through between those trees there?
Yeah, some we put in the pot. It's like,
Here? Use a pot?
the pot it's on the, yeah, that's not in the pot, yeah.
I mean, at a point, understanding the direction that the planning department goes, you get to a certain point, you find so many things, and then, because you have so many applications you're going through, you pretty much stop at that point and then move on to the next application. So, at this point, would it be your assumption that that's within 75 feet of the boundary line? And even if the boundary line was off and the whole thing had to move 75 feet, would it be within 75 feet of the other boundary line?
We have seen a lot of errors with the parcel boundaries drawn in our GIS layer.
Right.
In terms of location, but also in shape as well. But given the location of this
The road?
this easement or driveway.
Yes.
That should be, and you can kind of see a line here, this should be the northern parcel boundary. So if this shape is correct, this should be pretty good approximate of the location of the property boundary.
Can I walk over to the map? If there's a boundary issue, I also own the property around it.
But as per the urgency ordinance, it doesn't matter if you own multiple properties, it's within a boundary line on each property. It doesn't matter if you own all the property around it. Am I correct?
Yes.
75 feet, doesn't matter if you own the property on the other side of the fence.
Well, if I have a
It gives
lease,
you a boundary issue.
if I have a lease with them and they go, I don't understand that. If I own the property and it goes over the property and I have a lease with them that they're welcome to use, have it dribble over.
No, actually, they're not.
The ordinance does not allow that. It
Oh, I
could,
see
you could
what
say
you're
you
saying.
want it all day, but the ordinance doesn't allow that. The only way around that would be a property line adjustment or moving the plants. Just so you're aware.
Okay, so, do you have any further evidence to present?
I have buckets of receipt and lots more pictures, but I think the picture of the tractor showing that there's been actual cultivation
Okay.
is substantial.
We can go to public comment.
Yeah. Do you have any further comment before we go to the public to see what they?
Yeah. Being a resident of Calaveras County for as long as I have, I know lots and lots of people, and lots of people who've been approved. And I know I shouldn't say this, but every one of them has been a nice white boy.
A what?
White boy. A white boy. And this whole, it hasn't been addressed, but this whole entire side of the denial have all been Asian. And first time in my life, I've been really embarrassed to be an American. I'm sorry. There's been many, many approved situations that were just about like this. I know them personally.
Does anybody in the public have a comment on this matter?
No, I doubt if anyone would dare to.
I would like to address your last comment.
Okay, I'll stay here.
I would just like to say that going back to the first day, when the appeals came in, they're all white boys in here.
Okay.
And we
It's being
denied every
honest.
one of those,
It's being honest.
right? So we started out denying white boys. And there's no race factor coming from me, and I believe the rest of us here. And that's
According
my
to
true opinion.
okay, fine. According
my
to, and
true
I don't want to argue, but it's pretty obvious. I'm not going to argue. It's pretty obvious, though.
I find the allegation offensive.
I do too.
Yes.
It's absolutely untrue.
Pardon me?
It's absolutely untrue.
Yeah, okay. I was asked to be able to speak freely on this, and
That's fine.
I'm speaking
and
freely on
I was
it.
addressing you back, and I appreciate what Peter said. And may I ask you, Peter, one thing? How many people have been approved so far?
We've had 3.
Three approved so far.
I'm not talking about the peels. I'm talking about the original.
We're talking overall.
Yes, 3 have been approved.
3 have been approved. So how many lots of white boys out there do you know that have been approved out of 3?
I could return back here in a week with a lot of names of white boys who have been approved. And hey, I like white boys.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to bring this conversation to an end because I don't even like the reference of the words that you guys are using. It needs to stop. This is not the place to bring into racism. That's not what this is about. Thank you. Can we go to public comment, please?
Michael Falvey, Mountain Ranch. I'm proud to be an American. And if someone doesn't like what they have here in this country, I mean, this sounds rednecky and it's pretty simple, but they have the right to leave. So I'm proud to be an American, as flawed as we are.
So I would like you to stick to the agenda item and the topic at hand, please. Let's go to that.
Okay.
Do you have something to say about this particular parcel?
Yes.
Thank you.
This particular parcel is just like the previous 7 or 8 that I've seen. Phony photographic evidence, phony testimony. You can see right through it. And now we have, there it is, there's the property line, and again, the road is a pretty good representation. So if the property lines are off even 20 feet, the middle of that crop is on the parcel to the south. That's a photograph oriented north and south. Those crops are to the south. They are not allowed to be grown on the adjacent parcel no matter who owns it, therefore it is illegal. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? You're the boss.
I think that covers everything that's on today's agenda, doesn't it?
No.
No,
We-
it's got one more.
We need to bring
I'd
it.
like to point out one thing, just, we have a lot of new information that's been presented at the hearing here today, information that was presented as part of the appeal. We based our action on the information that was submitted as part of the application packet. The only photograph we had was the one with a plant in a pot with the irrigation system, water tank in the back, and there's nothing that provided us any evidence that that existed on that piece of property. And that was why we based our information, or our denial, was that we did not find that there was sufficient photographic evidence to support that prior cultivation had occurred on the site. That was it. The other stuff that came in after the fact was not what we based our decision on. It was based on what was submitted as part of the packet. And in our mind, it was in part misleading because it didn't seem to appear to be actually on the site. There's certainly nothing that would demonstrate that it was based on our aerial imagery, and there wasn't sufficient area to show that they were cultivating what they had applied for. And that was the basis for our denial.
So I'd like to call for the reading of the resolution, please, if we could.
The recommendation?
Yes, thank you.
So staff recommends the Planning Commission pass a motion to sign Resolution 2013-038 denying Appeal 2016-1086 of Planning Director's denial of Commercial Cannabis Registration 2016-730.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to uphold the planning commission, or department, excuse me.
I'll second it.
The move and second that we uphold the planning department's decision. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
As previously stated, this action by the Planning Commission is appealable to the Board of Supervisors within 14 days, 15 calendar days, excuse me.
Okay, that's going to be continued. We have appeal 1061. And that one, they're asking for a continuance.
Yes, I was wondering where we left that was.
Okay, so that was, okay, so right now we're on number 7, tentative parcel map for West Point, and that was agreed to be continued?
Yeah, so you just need to take formal action. I think if there's anyone else in the audience that wants to speak on it, they can, but we again suggest that they hold their comments until we have the full hearing.
And that's the last one, isn't it?
No, we have a couple more after
We've
that.
got 3 more. Are you missing a page to
I
your?
must be missing a
Okay,
page.
No,
so,
we ran out of tab, so the orange sheets sort of separate the different packets.
Well, yeah, that's what I was trying to go by.
here, you can use my agenda if you'd like. So the action that we need to take for the continuance, do you need a vote, a formal vote from the planning commission to?
Yeah, I think we need to open it up.
Okay.
And then ask if there's public comment, and then we can take a motion for
Okay, here's the one, Ted, if you wanted to read what we're going to let the public speak on.
Well, this is for tentative parcel map. Okay. The next item on the agenda then is 2016-002, tentative parcel map for I missed something here.
CGDG West Point.
CDDG? Okay.
Yeah.
West Point.
And there's a recommended continuance, and
Yeah.
we can go to public comment on that?
Yep.
Okay.
Is there any public comment on that, by the way?
Yes. I don't know what the rules are, how to open it up, but I think there's a water runoff problem that is every bit as good.
I'm sorry, can you identify yourself, please?
Sure, I'm Lawrence Fuchs. I'm one of the property owners within 300 feet. And I happen to be the one that the excess runoff hits first off of the state highway drainage system. And I think it probably there's a checkoff system in there for what items are to be looked at. And this was archaeological, was it? Yeah. I think there's one in there for hydrology that's every bit as important, especially being the initial grading wiped out the archaeological portion of it. I'm trying to remember back when that was done, but I have fought water problems since then, and to my mistake, I was addressing it to Caltrans, who gave the initial encroachment permit onto 26. It washes a gutter out alongside of 26, and where it hits another culvert coming across from the other side of the road and enters my property, it has washed clear to the edge of the pavement. If a vehicle was to go off in there, I think they'd flip and be right in my field.
So you're aware that we're going to be continuing this today?
Yeah,
and
I heard that.
Have you been in touch with the county or put in a letter to?
No, I haven't put in a letter yet.
Okay.
I've been in touch with Ms. Flandreau and with Packinger.
Great, okay.
But Packinger, I was very late because I had a hard time catching him. I just talked to him yesterday.
Well, you just got more time,
Okay.
hopefully, when we get done voting.
All righty. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming today.
You bet.
So do you need a motion to continue?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to continue 2016002.
Should be off calendar.
Pardon me?
Continued off calendar.
Continued off calendar. Got it.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay.
One question, there will be a notification on when...
Yes, because it's continued off calendar, we'll send out, we'll renotice it.
We're going to go to this appeal, unless you want to take a break, or do you want to do this one first? This one's going to ask for continuance. Let's go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, the next one on the agenda then is 2016-1061, appeal for denial of a personal cannabis cultivation registration application for assessor parcel number 014-006-029. Gina, is this from yours?
Yep.
Go.
Okay, so before we get started, we have a request from the appellant's attorney for a continuance. She was unable to be here today. She submitted to our office a letter with, in addition, there's several exhibits. I provided you copies of that this morning. I don't know if you've had a chance to look through it, but that will be up to your discretion as to whether or not you want to continue the item to an available time in which she can be here. I do believe there might be a representative from their office. Perhaps maybe you'd want to get started, or if you'd like me to, I can go through the PowerPoint. It's short, but it's up to you.
Well, I think first we should probably address whether we want to continue it or yes. Okay. So we need to, Ted, address. Okay. So,
Are you the applicant?
I am, I'm sorry, my name is Randy Schramm. I'm an associate attorney at Tully & Weiss, along with the attorney on this case for Ms. Vang, who is Ashley Bargainquest, and so she's the appellant.
You're representing them as far
Yes.
as a request for a continuance?
Yes, I'm appearing on Ms. Bargainquest's behalf, who is the attorney for the appellant.
Why do they want to continue it?
Well, Ms. Bargainquest was unavailable to be here today. I believe she did try and get this continued without having it to come here, but that didn't work out, and so she sent a letter to have it formally requested that it be continued. And Ms. Bargainquest is the actual, she's an expert on this area of the law. I'm a criminal defense attorney. This is really not my forte.
is Mrs. Vang here?
She is not.
So when I spoke to Mrs. Vang's attorney, the request for a continuance came up stating the fact that she couldn't be here today. But because we were up against that 45-day time period, this was the last public hearing that I could notice this item for, given the fact that we've all got a very busy calendar from here through the end of the year. I declined her request, told them that they would have to come before you to make that request to you.
Is there a date to which you want to continue it?
Just any other further date. There's nothing specific. Ms. Bartonquist, she would be able to make it available. It's just the only reason she couldn't be here today was because of a familial obligation. But any other further date, she would most likely be able to be here.
Are we meeting in 2 weeks?
No. We should. There's nothing on the agenda.
I'm inclined not to grant a continuance because we haven't granted other continuances, and we've had many of them ask. We have noticing obligations on these commitments, and I'm just inclined not to grant the continuance based on the fact that we haven't granted others.
Yeah, if it's continued, you don't have to renotice. Just so you know.
Well, this one I think is different because
They abated it.
there's no issue here of a commercial grow trying to make the harvest and using a request for a continuance as a lever to do that. I've looked at the request for a continuance. I think I personally would be fine with it.
Okay.
I would concur with Kelly on the fact that it looks to me they presented the evidence that a majority of it's been abated, so the continuance isn't just to get off a harvest.
It's not about, for me, that it's been abated. It's about the application that was filed and the discrepancies in the ordinance and that application were enormous. I feel that we were owed the courtesy of her showing up here today and keeping these processes moving. Every time we allow for somebody to put a stop in front of us, it backlogs our planning department. So I'm at the position of moving forward, but that's me. Your turn.
No, I don't disagree with that because we just get further behind.
So if it helps, I know there are lots of pictures in the request for continuance supplied by the attorney. Obviously, some are of which are obvious abatement of the cultivation site. However, our staff has not been able to get up to the particular parcel and verify via site inspection exactly how much has been abated, whether it's the entire grow, whether it's a portion of the grow, what exactly is the situation. All we're able to look at is the photos supplied to us, and we're uncertain through actual verification.
And if I could just comment on that, I believe the entire site has been, and just speaking with Ms. Bartonquist about this, the entire site, or the entire grow has been eradicated on her advice. And so and those are rather lengthy pictures and comprehensive pictures submitted showing that it's been completely abated. They even brought in a wood chipper to shred it, it looks like. And then also she did receive an email from Sabrina Cable. I'm not entirely sure who that is, but she attached it as Exhibit D to her request for continuance.
She's a code enforcement officer.
Okay, and she commented that, yes, the pictures were thorough and that she will not be being fining on the evidence of the abatement. And so the code enforcement was satisfied that the entire grow had been eradicated. And just what's at issue here is just sort of her application for a personal grow. And Ms. Bartonquist is far more qualified for me in this area to argue this. She's way more versed in the points of law rather than I am. If I had argued this today, I'd simply be reading it from her appeal.
Is there anybody here that's been waiting all day for this item to come up?
Do we need public comment on the request for continuance?
Yeah.
Yep. Does anybody have public comment on the request for the continuance? No? Okay. Anybody want to make a
What's
motion?
the pleasure of the commission?
No, I'll make a motion to continue it to the next available date.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded for a continuance to the next available date. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
So the next available date, although we don't have anything else scheduled on the agenda,
It's October 27th, right?
So we're going to come in for one hearing?
We have a 2-2
no,
vote?
it's 3-1.
Oh,
We had a 3-1.
Oh.
October 27th is the next available planning commission. Apparently, as of today, well, we've already noticed everything, so we don't have a currently don't have an agenda other than this item. So we'll see you then.
On October 27th, that should be fine.
Or
Can you
at your
extend it
pleasure,
further
you can
out?
You can extend it as far as you want. at this
I
point.
believe that we should consider extending it out to bring the entire planning commission out of their department. I keep saying commission, I apologize. The department out for one hearing is kind of,
Then we're looking at November 10th.
she's already eradicated it, so it's not going to make a difference.
That's fine with me.
I say we go to November 10th.
November 10th would actually be preferable.
Okay.
All in favor of November 10th?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So be it.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
All right, you too.
Okay. Oh, you don't have an agenda. Sorry, let me open it back up. Okay, so we are going to go to, can we take a break?
Yeah.
Perfect.
How long?
10 minutes.
How much?
10 minutes.
10-minute break. Okay, all ready?
Yes.
I'd like to call the planning commission back into order. And the next item is item number 9, 2016-1071, the zoning amendment for Ag Preserve.
Okay, we'll try to make this quick. I know we've all had a long day. I didn't put together any PowerPoint presentations. There really wasn't anything more to say. Your packet pretty much says it all. So before you, you have the first of 2 ag preserves. Application is submitted to the not only to the planning department, but it's been circulated over to the county ag commissioner's office. They've met with the ag advisory committee. Everything has been heard, and the recommendation from them is for you to approve. Basically, we've got ag preserve number 352 for 454.6 acres of land located off of Hubbard Road in Mountain Ranch. The applicant is Mary Suchi. In conjunction with the ag preserve, we must change the zoning of the land to accurately depict or signify the Williamson Act. So the request for zone change is from recreation, the current recreation zone, to AP, as said before, to signify the Williamson Act. Again, this is a cattle operation. The land is leased. In your packet, you have a feasibility study from our county ag farm advisor's office indicating that the land has the capability of meeting that minimum $2,000 annual income requirement. Do you have any questions?
No.
Any questions of staff?
I have none.
Okay. Is the applicant or applicant's agent here? That makes it even shorter.
You don't have nothing to say, Richard?
He's on the next one.
I know, but he might have something to say about this one.
Are you lost for words?
No, that wouldn't be possible.
Okay. If there's no deliberation, then what about, are you ready for the recommendation?
We are ready.
Yes.
Okay.
Staff recommends the Planning Commission pass a motion to adopt Resolution 2016-035, recommending the Board of Supervisors approve application 2016-1071 for Ag Preserve Number 358 to adopt an ordinance amending the zoning of Assessor Parcel Number 2031-021 from recreation and Assessor Parcel Number 021-015-009 from recreation with a 10-acre minimum parcel size, both to AP Ag Preserve, based on the findings including therein. And I must add, there was an amendment, just a slight typo found in the resolution. The word gross was actually spelt cross. Thank you, Kelly.
Is the applicant or applicant's agent here?
I'll make the motion to adopt the recommended resolution.
I'll second.
Moved and second, do we adopt the recommendation? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Now, fortunately, we don't have any study session.
We got
We have one more.
I've got one more.
What is that?
That is application 2016-1072,
Oh, yeah.
zoning amendment, agriculture preserve, application for Joseph and Cheryl Lombardi. Is that right? Yeah, I guess it is. Okay. No, it's not either, huh? Yeah, Joseph and Cheryl Lombardi. So here again, application submitted to the County Ag Commissioner, reviewed and voted on by the County Ag Advisory Committee. Their recommendation to the Board of Supervisors is to approve the Ag Preserve. In addition to that, as before, we're going to have to change the zoning to signify the Williamson Act. So this happens to be Ag Preserve number 353, for a total of 1,015 acres or 15.38 acres. Simultaneously, we will have to disestablish the existing contract 105 for a total of 905.43 acres. In a nutshell, what they're doing is they're taking the existing Ag Preserve land, they're adding an additional 109.95 acres to the existing 905, putting the whole thing into a new contract. Property is located near Mokelumne Hill, just what would be east of the Golden Hills subdivision.
Does that go all the way through to Sus Maria Road?
Sus Maria Road? No, I don't believe so.
Go that far?
I think east would be pushing towards San Andreas more, would that be correct?
No, according to the map, it lies actually northeast, directly east and northeast of that Golden Hills subdivision, just south of Mokelumne Hill.
Okay, is the applicant or the applicant's agent here? Yes. I knew you could make it.
Hi, my name is Richard Smith. I represent the Lombardis in this application, and I hope to say thank you very much when we're all done. I have no other comments. It's an old application. We used to be on the Fisher Ranch. We added some land over the years around the perimeter boundaries, lot line adjustments, and all they're trying to do is incorporate everything under one clean Ag Preserve contract.
Any questions of the applicant?
Pardon me?
I was asking if they had any
No.
questions of the applicant. No.
Not from me.
Okay, so
Public?
They're next.
Are they?
Is there anyone in the public that would like to comment on this subject? Very popular. Okay, so is everybody ready for the recommendation?
Yes.
Go for it.
Staff recommends that the Planning Commission pass a motion to adopt Resolution 2016-036, recommending the Board of Supervisors approve application 2016-1072 for Ag Preserve Number 353 and adopt an ordinance amending the zoning of APN 1621-019 and 020 from RA recreational, residential agriculture, and APN 1624-005 and 006 from unclassified, APN 16024118 from A1ME, and APN 1624-119 from RA/A1ME, all to Agriculture Preserve AP based on the findings included therein.
Good job. I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll make it.
I
Could
trust
you
your,
read that one more time?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to accept the planning department's recommendation.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded, we accept the planning department's recommendation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
You're welcome, Richard.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Have a great day.
Very quick report.
Yes.
The one that we put back to the end of the meeting for,
And you can hear Peter first if you want.
I'm sorry?
You can hear Peter first if you want before you reconvene as the hearing. Yeah, well,
oh, okay.
Yeah, we have to reconvene. Just report the board last Tuesday essentially accepted your recommendation on the general plan. There were a few minor changes. I did meet with Steve Fairchild, the owner of the caves, and made some minor adjustments as suggested.
Good.
To those. There are a few other minor changes, and we'll move forward with EIR. I'm meeting with the consultants on next Tuesday, and excited to move forward on that. We hope to get it all done, wrapped up by the end of next calendar year, because if we don't, new state requirements kick in, and we'll have to start again.
Thank you for your hard work on that and the planning departments as a whole.
And the commission really put in a lot of challenge. Thank you for your hard work. There was one other thing. I'm drawing a blank, so I guess what's not important.
Well, it's this. You're going to...
No, there was something else I was going to tell you about what the board did, but I don't remember what it was.
Okay.
So I would suggest that you adjourn as the planning commission and reconvene as the hearing.
So the next planning commission meeting is going to be November 10th?
Yes.
Okay.
So no meeting next time.
Okay.
And prepare for a full agenda, I'm sure.
Okay.
What did you start to say about the administrative hearing board?
So we had the one item that was continued, that was carried over to the end of the agenda. So we need to adjourn as the planning commission and reconvene as the administrative hearing board.
We need to have last comment, public comment
Oh,
period.
yes, that's true.
Yeah, is there a public comment period at the end of the planning commission meeting? There being none, we adjourn the planning commission and restart again as the administrative hearing board.
Hello again, I'm still Ethan Turner. I'm still the attorney representing the Planning Commission and the Code Compliance Department. And both parties, Mark Davis and the partners for North Paloma Farms have withdrawn their appeals. And so unfortunately, you guys don't get to sit as a hearing board today. There will be other opportunities, though, I guarantee it.
Thank you.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for your patience.
Sure. Well, I wanted to stay and hear all that anyway.
now? Now we adjourn this?
Adjourn.
Oh, do we need public comment?
No.
Okay. Okay.
And we adjourn the Peninsula Hearing Board. Other than that, we are completely adjourned.
Thank you.
Get out of this fire crowd.